So like I said at the beginning of Mass, today we are celebrating the memorial of Saints Cyprian and Cornelius, two great saints and martyrs in the 3rd century. So we need to remember the history of the church a little bit. Up until the year 315, Christianity was illegal, right? There was great persecutions on the emperors, starting with Nero in 65, leading up all the way until Constantine, who made it legal to be Christian again. So the first 300 years of our church was a persecuted church. And we know that phrase, the blood of martyrs is like the foundation of the church, is the seed of the church. And I truly believe in that, because we had these great heroes of the faith who were radical for the Lord. As a priest, I have to read every morning Liturgy of the Hours, and I read the Office of Readings, which is some extended readings. And if it's a saint day, I read it on the saint. And I was reading from Saint Cyprian's execution. Sometimes they have a documentation, and the guy was pretty radical. The governor who was having him executed said, because you're going to die today, it's going to make our laws that much stronger, because we're eliminating Christians, and we're the ones standing up for the truth that you are being sacrilegious to the Roman religious laws. And he doesn't even realize, every time a martyr was killed in the early church, it actually just built up the faith of the martyrs. And as Cyprian's being led off to be executed, there's a mob of Christians that follow him, are all getting all excited and pumped up, and yeah, let's go get martyred with Cyprian. But that's what happens when we stand up for the truth, right? When we live in the fullness of the truth, and in our gospel it said, when we act upon the words that we hear, and we say, I do want to be a Christian, I actually want to stand behind what that means, it bears witness to other people, and it's contagious. I'll tell you a little bit about their lives. So St. Cornelius, he was a pope. He was the 21st pope in the history of the church, and he stood up for unity. He was fighting against Novatian, which was another bishop, I believe, and he had this heresy that those who were who did apostasy, which is when you deny your faith publicly, that he said that they weren't allowed being invited back in the church. And because they did such a grave sin, they just don't deserve to be among the Christians anymore. And Cornelius, that just didn't sit well with him as the Pope. And he said, no, we need to have mercy and forgiveness. The Lord has had mercy and forgiveness on our own lives. And we need to invite these people back into the church. Of course, not just all freely, but of course they would have to do penance and reconciliation and do that. But why should we be judging them whether they could come back into our community? And it was kind of a place of contention, right? Of tension, because, the Christians and Novatian, they were saying, these people who were in apostasy, they basically slapped us in the face, they kind of gave us the cold shoulder. So why would we invite them back in? And as I was kind of reflecting on that, and just the heart of a shepherd that Cornelius had towards these people, I was thinking of Paul, right? Paul was a persecutor of the church, and he says in the first reading that he's the greatest of sinners, but because of the Lord's mercy, he was received by the Lord. And the Lord accepted him and was patient with him, right? And I think that's a beautiful example for all of us of the Lord. As the Lord's patient with us, we need to be patient with our brothers and sisters and have mercy on them. Right? So there might be people in the world and people in your own lives where you're thinking, yeah, this person has no chance, or maybe some government leaders or whatever, and you kind of just give them the cold shoulder, these guys are in apostasy towards the church and they've done great sin towards us. We could do a lot of talking about them, but how much praying are we doing for them? And how much are we inviting the Lord's mercy upon their lives? So I think we can kind of learn from Cornelius and Cyprian. Cyprian was also helping Cornelius in this cause. How do we see our Christian brothers and sisters and those in the world, especially those who are living in great sin and those who are causing great harm to the church, how do we see them? And how do we view them through the Lord's eyes of mercy? So I just invite you to have a heart of praying for unity in our church and praying for those who are on the fringes of society and praying for the lost. And who knows what kind of saints will rise up because of that, right? Paul was a great sinner, a great persecutor of the church, and he became one of the greatest apostles. So just having that kind of heart for the church, like these two great saints did, and them being willing to lay down their lives for this cause of standing up for the truth and standing up for being a follower of Christ. I know that when I hear the stories of the saints and martyrs, I get convicted. I'm like, man, I want to be like these guys. So just like allowing that to sit in your heart today and be convicted by the truth and being convicted by who Jesus is and his mission for you today.